Monday night Super Bowl that the 49ers defense could have been more prepared to stop Patrick Mahomes, especially in overtime on the 4th and 1 zone read keeper that went for 8 yards, and on the up-the-middle scramble for 19 yards on 3rd and 1 from the 49ers' 32. This led yesterday to Kyle Shanahan being asked if defensive coordinator Steve Wilks will be back. And Kyle didn't exactly answer with an unqualified, resounding yes, instead saying, I haven't talked to anybody, so yeah, I expect all our coaches to be back. So, Keyshawn, just best guess, do you think Steve Wilks will be fired?
Can't be fired, so no. No. Can't be. So no, I don't think he'll be fired at all, Skip. And what I mean by can't be, your offense gave up the goods. You needed a trick play to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
That when you start running trick plays early in games, no matter what the look is, that tells us and me, you don't have the belief that you can score on this defense. So you got to trick them into scoring points. It's the way I look at it.
By the way, can I make a quick point? Just a quick point. We never even talked about this, but on the trick play, an offensive lineman is clearly downfield, and he's blocking while the ball's in the air, which is pass interference, offensive pass interference.
And illegal man downfield.
Okay, so anyway, but go ahead.
But I don't know about that because, I mean, Kansas City didn't score till the third quarter after a muff punt.
I'm just saying, being an offensive player, when you start doing things to score points, is because you don't have a strong enough belief that you could score on a defense. It's just playing offense. That's the way I was always taught.
You guys didn't run any trick plays to get ahead. What did you get ahead? 24-0 on.
No, we just had trick defense. That's 27
trick defense, 27-0.
You know, Steve Wilks does not coach the offensive line. When the tackle whiffed, that's not on Steve Wilks. Okay? You complain that the defense was struggling when he was up top in the 3-game stretch that they lost. He came downstairs, they got significantly better.
Off the bye week, yep.
But when a star player says something like, we could have been better prepared, it makes people think that you wasn't prepared. But are you talking about better prepared scheme-wise? Better prepared by your defensive line coach? Better prepared how?
Right.
How? Where? Because correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't play defensive line, but it looked like he crashed down.
He did. On the zone read.
On the zone read,
he did.
Instead of staying home.
But let's look
I mean, I don't know.
Could we see
that defense? You may know the defense, but that's what it looks like
here's the
to me.
4th and 1.
It looked like he wasn't reading his keys.
Lost. Yeah.
Right. Well, it just depends on what they call. I don't know what they call because sometimes you call stunts, and that's exactly what the play is. The DN goes to the back, the backer scrapes over.
Yeah.
It's a gap eliminated, so he doesn't have to worry about the A gap. He comes around, he has the quarterback. But this wasn't just a zone read. This was just play action. You see Travis Kelce's running a route. You see Rashee Rice running a route. You see Valdez-Scantling, they're running routes. So this is more of an RPO.
No, if that linebacker, that DB doesn't take Kelce, he's throwing it to Kelce. It was a two-way go. It was a smart call by Andy Reid to be able to say, two-way go. If they fluff off on Kelce, you keep it.
Right. It's a great play.
Great play.
So even in this conversation, it's again, I don't get why you say it, because there was one zone read play that Patrick kept.
That's the only one I know of.
And that's all he kept the entire season, I believe. I don't think he's kept one, and I got to go back and check, but he now only kept one the entire season.
And even if he kept more than one, so what?
Right. It's not something you prepare for and you overly prepare for. You may talk about it one time, hey, they got the zone read, they may keep it, but you're not calling your defense every play expecting zone read. So I just don't get that. The scramble that he had on the last drive of the game was straight down the middle. And they were playing to contain him the whole game. He went straight down the pipe of the defense.
Fred took a bad angle.
Let's look at that one real quick. Do we have the scramble? Here's the scramble.
See, Fred took a bad angle and it was too late. He couldn't get back around.
Couldn't get back on. That's not that's not zone read. That's not anything. You guys game plan to keep him in the pocket to stop this exact play.
You know, he went so fast at first. I had a flash of, was it a call play?
No, it wasn't.
I know, but He barely hits his back foot, and he is gone.
Well, it's third and one.
It's
so
third
he
and one.
realizes in his mind, I could get to 1 yard.
Right.
Here's it's opened up. I see everybody. I can make it.
Right.
Instead, he got 19.
Right. Do I throw it and potentially risk them dropping the football, or do I just run it and take the one?
And by the way, think about with the strategy involved here. If you stop him, let's say you even sack him, but if you just stop him cold at the line of scrimmage, it's a 49-yard field goal.
Right.
Okay. If you sack him on this play, because he dropped back, he took a 7-step type drop. You know, he was a deep drop. You're out of field goal range. So it was kind of a dangerous idea on the play. It's not exactly a 3rd and 1 call that you would typically try.
Well, because you're probably going to go for it on 4th and 1.
The play that got me, the only call that got me was they ran 0 one time on 2nd and 14. They had just got a big sack earlier in this drive, and it was 2nd and 14. They had him behind the sticks. And they called 0, but they called 0 while Kansas City was in a condensed, nasty.
What did they run, shallows underneath or
They
something?
just ran sits. Everybody ran hitches, and every DB was 9 yards off. And they just sat, caught it. Next down, it was 3rd and it might have been 3rd and 1.
But you're not going to. But Steve Wilks is not going to win every matchup on every down.
I fully understand that, but I'm not putting this on Steve Wilks. I thought the defense played unbelievable. I thought without the punt return, the punt like where it hit his foot and they gave up that, they hadn't given up a touchdown going midway through the third.
But it sounds like Nick Bosa, and it sounds like Shanahan is.
I don't think he's saying that. He's just saying I'm not even trying to address that right now. I haven't talked to any of the coaches. I don't know nothing.
Yeah, but that if somebody said how you like working with Richard Sherman, and I go, I haven't seen him in a while, but he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but this is
that's a good analogy.
Again, when you ask Kyle Shanahan 6 months from now in June, July, they're going to sit there and be like, "Yeah, we're bringing everybody back. We're focused. You're catching them in the middle of hurt." I'm sorry, these are human beings and not robots. They are hurt from this game. Steve Wilks, Nick Bosa had 12 pressures in this game. Eric Armstead had 7. The D-line.
So why would Nick Bosa say what he said?
Because that's how he felt. I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of what they said. Like I heard an 11-year vet say he didn't know the overtime rule. So I'm confused with a lot of things.
It just sounds like to me that rather than focus in on the head coach, all of a sudden you start to focus in on the defensive coordinator in the defense and something other than Kyle Shanahan. That's what it seems like to me.
Honestly, this doesn't feel like a blame game. If I'm being honest, I'm being straight up. This doesn't feel like because the O-lineman whiffed, whatever. This feels like both teams played a good game, one team lost. I'm not saying.
Of course, for us.
No, I'm just talking about it in a fair analysis. I want to go down and be like, Kyle, you called a bad play call on that 3rd down. That was a terrible play. Nobody was open, and you got sacked. That's on you, Kyle. You got to call a better play. There were 2 guys wide open, so I can't really put that on them. A guy made a mistake. I got you. Andy Reid called great plays down the stretch. They made plays. They scored a touchdown. They got a field goal. I'm not sitting here like, man, Steve Wilks it didn't call great defense on that drive. It didn't feel
like. But his job been in question basically all year long, Richard.
Right, his job is in question because you're on a team that's a #1 seed. They went on. It was a play in Minnesota game. This is when his job became on the line. He called 0 coverage with 16 seconds to go.
Right at the end of the half.
Right at the end of the half. He called 0 coverage with 16 seconds.
What's the name?
And
the young dude
from
Addison.
Yeah.
Jordan.
And he caught a touchdown when it was unnecessary to run a 0 coverage at midfield with 16 seconds.
I understand.
And he acknowledged and owned it. He did.
That's when things became creepy. Then Joe Burrow came to town. They were struggling all year. They were up and down all year. He went and he massacred that defense.
He did.
Throughout the game.
I understand.
Those were the reasons why there was concern because it just looked bad at a time.
Yes, but again, if somebody asks me, do I like working with Richard Sherman, and I go, I hadn't seen him in a while, he's fine, instead of saying, you damn right I like working with him, and he'll be right back with me tomorrow. There's a difference. I don't care that Kyle Shanahan just lost the Super Bowl. It's simple. He's my defensive coordinator. Because I know, we haven't talked in I don't know, coaches are out, what they're doing. No, I know if my defensive coordinator has another opportunity to leave or not. I know that.
I'm just saying, after a Super Bowl, he didn't say, I don't think he's coming back. He said, I expect all my coaches to be back. I don't really feel like talking right now. That's pretty much what it came down to.
Okay, well, but you're going to leave everybody open